Hey, hi. So our objective today is to use IntelliJ IDE and set up a Java Maven project using a combination of Cucumber with TestNG. Before starting, I'm considering that we all have a basic understanding of Java. Okay, so moving on a granular level, these are the tasks that we would be doing. First, we will create a basic Maven project. Then we'll add Cucumber and Cucumber TestNG dependencies. Then add supporting Cucumber plugins. Then create a Cucumber test. Then run the test via ID. Then finally run these tests via command. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is obviously start our IDE. And once it is up and running, we would move ahead and create our Maven project. So here, in order to create a Maven project, first click on File, go to New, then New Project, and then in the New Project section, select Maven if it is already selected, well and good. Then just move on to Next. We do not need Archetype right now, so click on Next. Put in your location wherein you want to save. I want my folder to be named as Cucumber TestNG. Test, right? And the artifact coordinates, you can include a new group ID name if you want. Otherwise, you can leave it like it is. I would say let's edit it to test proj. Okay, short form. Fine. Now just click on finish, and it would ask you whether you want to open the new project in the current window or not. I'll say okay. Let's open it in this window itself. Wait for some time. It will populate the things that are required, right? So that was our first step. Okay, so next we need to add our dependencies for Cucumber and TestNG. For this, we can simply go to Maven repository and get the dependencies from there. For that, open your browser. Here I'll open Firefox. There, search for Maven repository, right? Go to mvnmavenrepository.com. And here we can simply search for our dependencies. Here first, let's get Cucumber. I would prefer using io.cucumber as this is the latest release, present the latest one. I'll get the latest version itself. Click on it, copies it to the clipboard over here. So before adding in our individual dependencies, we first need to get our dependency tags. Right? So add dependencies, just type D and it will prompt. Enter. Okay, then Control V to paste in our Java dependency. Next, what we need is TestNG dependence. So for using TestNG with Cucumber, we would need Cucumber TestNG dependency, and just the normal TestNG would not be sufficient for us, right? So go back, search for Cucumber TestNG. Again, get it from io.cucumber, so that would generally be your first output. Get the latest version again, click on it, back, control. So generally, IntelliJ loads in all the dependencies once you have entered them. In case it doesn't, right click, then go to Maven, then reload project, right? And once the processing is done, generally, you will get all the dependencies under external libraries, right? Expand this, you get okay. Okay, so next we would be needing two plugins, namely Gherkin and Cucumber for Java. These would enable IntelliJ to populate recommendations and autofills for us while we are working with it. Okay. In order to download these, go to File, then Settings, then Plugins, and in Plugins, go to Marketplace, then search for Gherkin. Gher. It's already populated. Click on install. Wait for it to install. Once it is installed, wait for the apply button to get enabled. It might take some time. Once it is enabled, click on apply. Once that is done, let's move ahead and get our next plugin, that is Cucumber for Java. Cucumber. We already have it. Click on install, and once again wait for apply button to get enabled. It takes some time. Click on apply. Click on OK. So next, let's move ahead and create our first Cucumber tests. So before we move on to write our first test case, let's understand the structure of a Cucumber test. A typical Cucumber test consists of two parts. First, feature, which is written in a human readable language, namely Gherkin, using given, when, then syntax. We'll get into the details of it later. Next is the logical implementation of this feature file. Okay. Additionally, it is generally preferred that we keep these feature files in a separate resource folder in our test folder, right? We'll get to this practically now. Okay, so let's create our resources folder. Go to projects, click on tests, right click, new directory, and select resources, right? Press enter. So now we have our resources folder. Let's create our first feature file. Right click, new file. Let's name this first test dot. It's important to include this extension, otherwise IntelliJ will not know that this is actually a Cucumber feature file. Press enter. Okay, so let's consider that we are testing a simple web login, right? So our feature would be a web login. Next, we will need to describe the scenario that we are going to test. So we'll write scenario, and let's test valid credentials login, right? So user should be able to log in with valid credentials. Next, we will describe the prerequisite over here. So that will go in given. For this, we can say the user is on login page. Next, we'll go with when. We'll describe the actions that the user will be doing. When, let's say the user enters valid credentials. And next is the outcome that goes on the then. Before then, I missed clicking on the submit button actually, so that we can include under and it's submit. Then we would be doing our assertion like verification, what all things we need to verify. So in this case, let's just verify whether he has logged in successfully or not. So then the user should be logged in successfully. Okay, right. So this is our feature file. Then we'll have to create the glue code for this, right? So go to test Java, create a new package, right? Let's give this package name as definitions. Inside this new package, let's create a class. Let's name it steps for now. Now, the next question is, what do we write in these steps? We can write all the code manually, or we can run this feature file right now, and that will actually give us the code. To run, click on this icon, click on run feature file. So the tests would fail, but it will give you what you need to write. See, right? So we'll copy these steps from Control C. Go to our steps, paste it. Next, we need to do the imports. Go here, Control Enter, given import. Again, press Alt Enter. It will import. Then again, then press Alt Enter. Right? It is imported given when then. Okay, next, let's get rid of these codes. Okay. And for now, let's just add in few print statements. So here, let's print users on login page. Page. Here, let's print entered valid, or rather entered username and password. Okay. Here, let's print. Click on submit. And lastly, let's print s out inside. Now let's go back to our feature file and try running them again. Let's expand our file. So here we have it. Our first test run by the ID. Right. Next, we'll try to run it using a runner file. So let us first create our runner package. Go to test Java, right click, new package, and name it as runners. Right. Press enter. Then again inside runners, let's create our runner class. So Java class, name it as run for now. Here we would need two things in this class. Okay. First is the cucumber options tag, and next we will have to extend this class with as abstract TestNG. So first let's extend it. Extends abstract TestNG cucumber tests. Okay. Once that is done, go at the top of this class and write at the cucumber options. Cool. So these cucumber option needs two mandatory arguments. Okay. These two are, press Control space bar. This will give you a suggestion, right? We would need features. So this features contains the path of your PJ file. And so let's add that in double inverted commas. So our path, and just mind you, the path starts from src. So src slash test slash resources resources. Why is this prompting me like that? Resources slash. You can leave it up till here, or you can add in the feature file name also I will add. So it becomes first test dot feature. Okay. After this, I'll also add the glue code. So and for glue, we need to specify the package where our glue code is present. For us, it is step definition. So glue code goes in an array format. Right. So it is step definitions. Be careful of the spelling. Straight. So this is all you need to add for your run a file. Now let's run this. Right click, run. Cool. So now we have successfully run it using a runner file. Next, let's try doing the same using the XML file for testing. So in order to run this test as a TestNG XML file or using a TestNG XML file, we need to first create the XML file. We can do that manually, go to file, create a new XML file, or we can take help from the IDE, right? And specifically, we would need a new plugin. So again, go to file, settings, plugin section, search for TestNG, right? And there is a plugin called Create TestNG XML. Install this. It is a third-party plugin, but it comes from reliable sources. So click on install. Once it is installed, wait for the apply button. Once apply is enabled, click on apply. And then OK. Now go to Cucumber TestNG project. Right click. You will get a create TestNG XML. It will prompt telling you where it is going to create the new XML. Click on OK. Right. Then go back and refresh this. So now you can see testng.xml has been created. Double click on it and let's refactor this page so that it is visible better. Code, then reformat code. Right. Okay, now we need to add in the classes what we want to run. Right. Here it would be our runner class. So inside classes, let's get rid of this classes first. Add a tag classes, and inside classes we'll add our individual class which we want to run. Class name would be runners and dot run. So here we given our location of our run class, uh, including its package name, right? That is all. Okay, since it is one line, we can use the syntax, right? And that's it. Let's run this testng.xml file. Check whether it is working or not. Cool. It's working. Okay, now coming to the final part of the video, let's run this entire thing from command line. Okay, so for that, let's first open our command line. You can search cmd. I already have it open. So from here, we need to migrate to our project, right? So it is in C project. So I'll do cd dot, and again cd projects. cd projects slash TestNG, right? Inside here, let's first run it via a simple Maven test command, mvn test. Right. So here we can see that our Maven test command did run, and but there is no output. Like our test did not run. So what happened? So actually, in order to run these tests from Maven, we would need to do some editing in our pom.xml file. Specifically, we would need to add a build step and Maven Surefire plugin. I have it already written down over here. So I just copy Control C, Control, and once I will reload the project again. Once it is done, I'll go back to my command line and enter ambient test. So this time it is compiling the new things. Let's see. Okay, so this time it ran our test, right? So this is how you will run it from your command line. Okay, so if you're wondering from where to get this build plugin information, you can actually search for it. And Apache Maven has got a very good documentation for this. So go to your browser, search for Surefire plugin, and go to using TestNG. I suggest you go through this page. It has got beautiful representations and usage of how you can use pom.xml and do a variety of things. Okay, that's all.